Once upon a time, there lived an old couple in an old small shack next to a forest. They were living a happy and peaceful life. Their only regret was not having a child of their own. One day, when the old lady was making cookie dough in the kitchen, her husband came in.
Darling, what are you cooking today?
Oh, my darling, I'm baking a gingerbread man today. The old lady kneaded the dough and cut a gingerbread man shape. After putting it in the oven, she sat down and started to wait for the gingerbread man to bake. When she could smell the delicious cookie all around the air in the kitchen, she put on her oven gloves and took the gingerbread man out. Now it was time to decorate it. She made eyes out of raisins and a cute nose using candy. And then she used some cream to make his hair and clothes. And lastly, she used cherries to make some buttons for him. She had a look at her masterpiece and said, "My gingerbread man looks beautiful, but I feel like something is missing." The old lady looked at him again and, "Oh, his mouth! I forgot to make his mouth." She drew a mouth on the gingerbread man's face with the cream. "Oh yes, now you are complete, my gingerbread man." At that moment, something unexpected happened.
Thank you!
But how can it be you are talking? Gingerbread man suddenly stood up and started running.
Yeah, and I can also run!
The gingerbread man jumped from the kitchen bench to the chair, then to the ground and started running fast to the kitchen door to the garden. "Come back! Come back!" the old lady yelled. The gingerbread man began talking whilst he was running.
Yeah! Run! As fast as you can, but nobody can catch me, because I'm the gingerbread man.
The old lady got out to the garden and started running after the gingerbread man. The man looked out the window and saw his wife running and yelled,
Hey, where are you running?
The old lady answered to her husband whilst running. "My gingerbread man ran away. I'm trying to catch him." The old man was speechless. The old lady ran, but the gingerbread man was so fast that it was impossible to catch him. After a short while, the gingerbread man came across a ranch. A grazing cow noticed him.
Oh, what a nice cookie! I should catch and eat him.
The cow also began to run after the gingerbread man.
Wait! Don't run! I'm gonna eat ya!
Yeah! Run as fast as you can, and old lady's also trying to catch me, but nobody can because I'm the gingerbread man.
The old lady and the cow were running after the gingerbread man. And at this time, a pig noticed the gingerbread man.
A gingerbread man, true to my taste buds. Wait, and I will catch you.
The gingerbread man answered the pig whilst he was running.
Yeah! Run as fast as you can, and old lady and a cow are also trying to catch me. But nobody can because I'm the gingerbread man.
While they were running, the gingerbread man in front, the old lady, cow and the pig behind him, a chicken noticed the gingerbread man while looking for some food.
That has to be my lunch.
So the chicken tagged along.
Run as much as you want, gingerbread man. I'm gonna catch you.
Yeah, run as fast as you can. An old lady, a cow, and a pig could not catch me. Neither can you. Nobody can, because I'm the gingerbread man.
The gingerbread man in front, the old lady, cow, the pig, and the chicken, they all continued to run. But the gingerbread man was getting more and more further ahead from the others. The gingerbread man was so happy and very proud of himself.
I'm the brightest and the fastest gingerbread man in the world. Yes, that's me. Nobody can catch me because I'm the gingerbread man.
When he looked ahead, Soon the gingerbread man saw that he was going across a river, and he stopped because he knew that water could make him melt away.
What now?
The old lady, cow, pig, and the chicken were close now. Right at that moment, a shifty fox appeared from behind a tree.
I know how to swim. If you want, I can help you.
The gingerbread man thought about it.
What if you eat me?
You don't have to worry. I don't want to eat you. I just want to help you get across.
The gingerbread man trusted the shifty fox and jumped on his tail, holding on as tight as he could. The fox jumped in the river and began to swim. Meanwhile, the old lady, cow, pig, and the chicken came to the edge of the river and saw the gingerbread man crossing the river on the back of a fox. Helplessly, they watched them go, knowing they could not catch him anymore. The river began to get deeper and the water started to rise.
Hey, Fox, keep your tail up. I almost got wet.
Up on my back, it's safer.
The gingerbread man hopped on the fox's back. They swam for a while, but as the water got deeper, the fox's back began to sink in the water.
I'm afraid that you'll get wet. Why don't you jump on my head, where it's a bit higher?
The gingerbread man climbed up on his head. The fox continued to pursue his plan and dipped his head down in the water.
The water has risen too much. Why don't you get on my nose? It's higher.
So the gingerbread man got on top of his nose. Right when they were about to reach the shore, the fox tipped his nose, flipping the gingerbread man into the air, and opened his mouth. The gingerbread man was going to fall into his mouth, and the fox was going to eat him. But it didn't work. While the gingerbread man was in the air, a crow flying right above them caught the gingerbread man with his beak. The fox just stood there looking with his mouth open. The gingerbread man waited for the crow to fly a little further and asked,
Do crows eat ginger cookies?
Yep.
When the crow opened his beak to speak, the gingerbread man fell down and began to run as fast as he could.
Yeah! Run as fast as you can. An old lady, a cow, a pig, a chicken, a fox, and a crow also tried to catch me. But nobody can because I'm the gingerbread man.
The gingerbread man kept on running and did not stop. If you see a gingerbread man pass you by running, do not try to catch him, because he is the gingerbread man and nobody can dare catch him.
The Wolf and the 7 Little Goats. Once upon a time, a wolf wandered. He was hungry all the time. He ate a lot, but he could never get enough to satisfy his stomach.
I'm hungry again.
So, day and night, he would wander the forest, chasing prey. One day, the hungry wolf discovered a small hut. He sneaked up carefully and quietly, and when he got close, he looked out of the trees, saw that a mother goat and her 7 babies lived in the hut.
Oh, now there's a meal that'll last a whole week.
The crafty wolf laid in wait and spied the hut until the morning. In the morning, the mother goat was about to kiss her 7 babies and leave the house.
My children, I'm going to the market now to buy some food. Be careful and do not open the door to anyone.
All right, Mommy.
The mother goat left the house to go to the market. At that time, the wolf, sneakily watching the hut, called it an opportunity and jumped out. But he needed a genius idea to fool little goats.
The best tactic for catching these goats is a disguise.
The wolf first put on an old dress. He pulled his ears down and made 2 goat horns from the branches and put them on his head. Then, with his feet covered in flour, he stole a fresh and warm apple pie from the house of someone he doesn't know.
And I'll just change my voice too, like that. I'm such a good grandmother.
The wolf walked slowly to the front of the hut and knocked on the door. Little goats, hearing the sound, immediately rushed to the door. One of them was going to open the door with excitement. But another little goat warned him.
Wait! You shouldn't just open a door like that. You have to ask, who is it? Who is it?
It's me, my babies, your grandmother. I came to take you to the park.
Our grandmother lives very far away. You can't be her.
Oh, it's been such a long trip. Come on, dears, open the door, let's go to the park.
When the wolf said that, the little goats looked under the door and looked at the wolf's feet.
Look, her feet are just like ours. Yes, but her nails are too long, like a wolf.
When the little goats did not open the door again, the wolf made them smell the apple pie he brought them.
Look, I brought your favorite apple pie, dear grandchildren. And wolves don't know how to make pies.
The goats smelled the apple pie and got excited and opened the door. None of them understood that he was a wolf in disguise.
Come on, Grandma. Let's go to the park. We'll eat our apple pie when we return.
The little goats and wolf left the hut.
I'm so hungry. I can hardly contain myself.
While the goats were walking happily, the wolf's dress caught on the branch of a tree. The dress slipped off the wolf slowly, and the little goats were stunned by surprise when they saw the wolf's horrible fur.
That is a wolf! Help! Run! Let's go!
When the wolf realized he was spotted, his ears flipped up, his sharp teeth showed, and he jumped on the goats. He found and caught them all one by one. Only one of them survived, and he ran away from the wolf. The wolf kidnapped 6 little goats and took them to his dark nest. To inform his mother, the little goat that survived ran so fast that he lost his breath. Meanwhile, the mother goat returned home from the market with a basket of fruit and vegetables. The door of the house was wide open. She hurried inside, but couldn't see her tiny babies around. My babies, where are you? My little goats. The mother goat was so worried that she immediately ran out of the house to start looking for her little kids. Meanwhile, she noticed the large footprints on the ground. Oh no! These tracks are the footprints of a wolf! She followed them for a while, but then the ground changed and the prints disappeared. What am I going to do now? Oh, a wolf has kidnapped my children! While the mother goat cried, the little goat that had escaped came running to her.
Mom! Mommy!
My baby! Where are your brothers? What happened? Tell me quickly.
A hungry wolf disguised himself as our goat grandmother and tried to kidnap us, Mother. Only I survived, but I know where they are.
The mother goat and her little baby ran to the wolf's lair. When they arrived, they heard the voices of the little goats. This is the wolf's lair. We have to be very careful now, baby. The mother goat and her kid came up with a clever plan to save the other little goats. They both stood in front of the wolf's house and made a huge bear shadow with their hands inward. Inside, the wolf was just about to eat the little goats, but saw the scary bear-shaped shadow.
What is this? Is it a bear or...
I am a giant bear with a very hungry stomach. There must be a wolf around here that will fill my stomach. The wolf was so afraid that the bear would eat him that he immediately started to run out of his lair.
No! Help me, bear, bear, bear! The bear will eat me! Bear, help!
Seeing the wolf running away, the little goats came out with joy and hugged their mother tightly.
The wolf ran away! The wolf ran away! The wolf ran away!
And from then on, the mother goat and her 7 children lived a peaceful life away from the wolf in their hut in the forest.
Once upon a time, there lived a brother and sister named Hansel and Gretel. Their mother had passed away when they were babies. They lived with their dad in a hut in the forest. Their dad was trying to earn their living by working as a woodcutter and was looking after the kids at the same time. A couple of years passed, and struggling to juggle work and 2 kids at the same time, their dad decided to get married again. The woodcutter's wife was from a wealthy family, and she hated the fact that they were poor, and she had to live in a small ruined hut deep into the forest. Plus, she did not like her stepchildren at all. On a cold winter night, as they were getting ready for bed, Hansel and Gretel heard their stepmother talking to their dad. "How are you going to get through this winter? We don't have enough food. If you do not get rid of these kids, we will all starve to death." Their dad opposed furiously. "No need to argue. I made up my mind. Tomorrow we'll take them to the woods and leave them there." Hearing all that, Gretel started to cry. Her brother Hansel comforted her.
Please don't worry, Gretel. Somehow we'll find our way back home.
Later that night, Hansel snuck out and collected as many pebbles as he could in his pockets. In the morning, they all started to walk towards the forest. Their father told them that they were going for a family hike. As they were walking, without anyone noticing, Hansel dropped the pebbles to mark the way back. In the afternoon, their dad and stepmother lit a fire and told them that they will be back soon. They walked off and vanished in the woods. Of course, they did not come back. When the night fell, the horrible sounds of all the wild animals in the forest started to echo around them. Shivering with the horrifying sounds of the wolves, Hansel and Gretel did not leave the fireside until the moonrise. Then they started to follow the pebbles shining in the moonlight and walk towards home.
Well done, Hansel. This was very clever of you.
When the kids came back home, their dad was very happy and surprised at the same time. Their stepmother also acted as if she was happy, but deep inside, her decision was still the same. She was very upset that they were back. After 3 days, the stepmother tried to get rid of them again. This time at night, she locked Hansel and Gretel's door. and did not allow Hansel to collect pebbles again. But Hansel was a clever boy. When they were walking to the forest in the morning, this time he dropped the breadcrumbs that he had put in his pocket the night before, and again made a trail all the way back home. Around noon, their father and stepmother made up an excuse and went off, leaving them all alone in the forest again. Realizing that they were not coming back, Hansel and Gretel wanted to start walking back home before it got dark. But this time, they could not find the trail they left because all the breadcrumbs were eaten by the birds. Gretel started crying. For the first time, Hansel also felt hopeless. This time the kids were really lost. With no food and scared to death, they wandered around the forest for 3 days. On the 3rd day, they saw a bird, white as snow. The bird chirped songs with its beautiful voice for them. They forgot their hunger for a moment and started to follow the bird. The bird brought them in front of a funny-looking house. This house had walls of bread, a roof made out of cake, and windows of candy, and was covered with colourful cream all around. Hansel and Gretel could not believe their eyes. The house looked incredibly delicious. The kids forgot all about how tired they were and started to run to the house. Just as they were both going to have a bite from the house, they heard a voice from inside.
Oh! Now who is nibbling on my house?
They looked around and they saw a cute and sweet old lady at the door. When they told her all about what had happened to them, she felt very bad for them, and so she let them in. The inside of the house was very different from the outside. It was dark, scary, and it didn't feel right. But because they were so tired and hungry, the kids did not care much. The old lady brought all kinds of food and desserts for them, and the kids ate food that they hadn't had before. That night, they slept on the softest bed they had ever seen. When they woke up in the morning, the old lady wasn't there. They started to look around. At the end of the corridor, they saw a small door. When they opened the door, they found cases full of gold and treasure inside. They were very surprised, of course. Hansel wanted to get in and take a closer look. Right at that moment, they heard her voice again.
And what do you think you are doing?
When they turned around, the kids faced the witch standing right there in front of them. Apparently, the old lady was a witch leading the kids to a dungeon with a house covered with cake and candy. The kids tried to run away, but the door was locked. The witch pulled Hansel by the hair and locked him in a cage. Then she dragged Gretel to the kitchen.
Your brother is too skinny. Cook some food for him and make him fat. When he's in good shape,
He'll be a delicious meal for me. But don't you dare eat anything. All the food is only for him.
Having no choice, Gretel did what she asked for. Fortunately, Hansel was a clever and wise boy. He decided to trick the evil-hearted witch. Every night when the witch was asleep, he was digging a hole in the ground of the cage. The witch was controlling Hansel every morning to see if he gained weight or not. But Hansel wasn't eating anything his sister cooked. Instead, he was burying them in the hole that he digged. In the meantime, the witch was telling Gretel to cook more. This went on for days until finally the witch had enough.
Fat Skinny, I don't care anymore. Today I will make Hansel pie.
She turned to Gretel.
Look in the oven to see if the dough is baked enough.
Although she was in fear, Gretel was also a wise girl, just like her brother. She understood that the witch was going to push her in the oven.
I can't get my head in there and see the dough,
whined Gretel. The witch pushed her aside and stuck her head inside. Gretel gathered all her strength and pushed the old witch into the oven and closed the oven door. Gretel knew where the witch was hiding the keys. She ran straight away and saved Hansel from the cage. The flames from the oven covered the whole house. Hansel and Gretel ran away from the burning house into the woods, but they did not know where to go. A while later, they came across a river. A giant swan took them one by one to the other side of the river. The kids looked around and suddenly they realized where they were. They ran home as fast as they could. Seeing his kids, Father was full of joy. With tears of joy, he explained to them how their stepmother had gone back to her parents' house soon after they had left them in the forest, and how sorry he was for all that he did, and no matter how hard he had searched for them, they were nowhere to be found. The kids loved their father very much, so they forgave him. But another surprise was waiting for their father. They both reached their pockets and brought out gold and diamonds they had found in the witch's home. Their father could not believe his eyes. All the problems that their family had ever had went away, and they lived happily ever after.
One day, the vain, evil-hearted Queen Hela called her chamberlain Dunkov. Unveil my magic mirror, Dunkov. Chamberlain Dunkov was clumsy and pulled the cover down onto himself. You fool! Get out right now! The queen admired herself in the mirror and then said, Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all? The magic mirror answered her,
In this land, my queen, you are no longer fairest in the land. Snow White is the most beautiful.
Hela became very angry.
It can't be. No one can be more beautiful than me.
The whole castle seemed to shake with her anger, and her evil heart wanted to destroy the beauty of Snow White. She made a plan and ordered the royal huntsman to take Snow White into the enchanted woods and kill her.
And bring me back her heart.
Snow White trusted the royal huntsman and went with him into the woods. Along the way, she saw a wounded bird on the ground. And Snow White picked up the bird to help heal its wing. Behind her, the royal huntsman sneaked up on her and took out his bow to shoot Snow White. He drew back the bow and took aim, but he could see that the girl had a kind heart as she held the wounded bird, and he decided it was wrong to kill Snow White.
Snow White, she ordered me to take your life. I can't kill a person as good and kind as you.
Who wants to take my life?
It's Queen Hela. You must run away and hide.
The huntsman chose to trick the queen and killed a wild boar instead, so he could take the boar's heart to the queen and make Hela think that the princess was dead. The princess was terrified and ran through the dark woods. She struggled through sharp branches and bats in the night until she could run no further. She collapsed against a tree and fell asleep in the cold, dark, enchanted forest. When the huntsman reached the castle, he marched directly to the queen.
I have fulfilled your command.
Queen Hela took the box and examined the heart. She believed that Snow White was dead, and her evil laughter echoed through the castle. When the sun finally rose, Snow White woke up in the heart of the forest, and there before her was the cutest little house with a small garden gate and picket fence, tiny windows with a doorbell, and a round green door. She rang the bell, but no one answered, and when she reached for the door to knock, it opened. Inside, everything was so small that it felt like she was in a toy house. Tiny pots, tiny spoons, glasses. When she found a tiny bowl of soup, she was so hungry that she ate it. And then fell asleep on a tiny bed. Not far away, the owners of the house finished their work in the mines and went home. As soon as they entered, they knew something was wrong. So they walked quietly and whispered.
Shh. Someone has eaten my bread.
Someone has used my plate.
Someone is sleeping in my bed right now. Such a beautiful girl.
Hey, goat! Get the lamp! Catch! Wow! Get the lamp! Catch!
Yikes! Phew. What? Shh! She's awakened. She's hiding under the blanket.
Don't be afraid of us, little girl. We are the 7 dwarves. I am Ace.
And these are jolly, angry, curious, silly, shy, and lazy.
Well, I am Snow White. I'm sorry I wandered into your house.
Snow White told them everything that had happened to her, and the dwarves were very sad to hear her tale. So they said she could stay with them in their little house. Far away, in another land, there was a young, handsome prince. His name was Antoine. He loved sitting outside at night and looking at the stars, which reminded him of the people he loved. One night, he saw the face of Snow White in the starry sky and felt he should seek her out. A fairy told him she was in danger and gave him a magical heart necklace. So Prince Antoine got his trusty horse and rode away to find the beautiful face in the sky. Back in the castle, the evil-hearted Hela was again in front of her magic mirror. Dunkov, uncover the magic mirror. Let me see my beauty. Dunkov entered, but the cover got caught on the mirror, and he almost knocked it over. Dunkov is such a clumsy assistant. Always at the most critical times, he becomes awkward and clumsy. The queen was continually annoyed with him. When Dunkov had left, Queen Hella again asked the mirror to tell her how beautiful she was.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?
Sorry, my queen, but Snow White, who lives with the 7 dwarfs, is the fairest in the land.
No! I thought Snow White was dead!
The queen stayed up all night, making evil plans to kill Snow White once and for all. She decided the best way to disguise herself, so she changed into a cute little bunny. In the morning, the dwarves went off to work. One by one, they kissed Snow White on the cheek and walked to the mine. And they warned her to be careful while in the house alone.
Now, princess, don't open the door to strangers. It isn't safe.
The forest seemed peaceful, and Snow White began to water the flowers in the garden. The princess noticed a little bunny sitting in the garden who seemed hurt. She went over and picked it up and brought it inside the house. She bandaged the rabbit's hurt leg and let it rest in the sun on the dwarf's bed. The bunny seemed like it was sleeping, but as soon as the princess left the room, the rabbit opened its eyes and looked around. Then it jumped, and turned back into the evil Queen Hella. This was exactly what she had planned. She poured purple poison into the pillow, thinking that the princess would sleep there and die from the poison. Snow White was so tired from working in the garden that she went inside to rest. She was just about to put her head down on the poisoned pillow.
Snow White! Snow White!
When she heard the dwarves come home. The princess met them at the door, and after a delicious dinner, they danced all night long. Snow White fell asleep in front of the fireplace, and it's a good thing that she did, because then she wouldn't be sleeping on the poisonous pillow. When the queen returned to her castle, Dunkov was still asleep, guarding her door. Thinking her plan had succeeded, she went to the magic mirror.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?
My queen, Snow White, who lives with the 7 dwarfs, is more beautiful than you.
Grr! No! I should be the most beautiful in all the land. Me! I will make a plan that will kill Snow White.
A few days later, while the dwarves worked in the mine, Snow White was sewing some of the dwarves' worn clothing. And then she heard a knock on the door. The door was knocked 3 times. Snow White looked through the door to see who it was. And it was an old, ugly woman with a basket of apples.
Who are you? I'm a saleswoman. I have very delicious apples. Would you like to try one?
Snow White was afraid to open the door at first, but she loved red apples.
Here you go. Enjoy it, my beautiful child. A free sample.
Snow White took the apple given by the old woman and took a bite. The apple had been poisoned. She fell to the ground before she could even cry out for help. Just down the road, Prince Antoine rested his horse in the shade of a tree. He had traveled far to find the beautiful face he had seen in the sky. Just off the road, he saw an old woman walking along. He was about to go speak with her when suddenly she transformed into the evil Queen Hela. The prince and his horse were stunned, and he decided to not go ask her for directions. Later that night, when the dwarves came home, they saw Snow White, still and lifeless, on the floor. They were so sad, and their hearts were broken into 1,000 pieces. They crafted a beautiful glass coffin and carried her to the country's longest river so that all the people of the kingdom would know of her beauty. Just downstream, the prince was traveling on his horse on the riverbank, and he noticed the glass coffin in the boat. He recognized the face of the girl immediately. The prince was very sad. But he opened the cover of the coffin. He took the stardust necklace from his pocket and put it on the princess.
Goodbye, my princess. Shine like a star wherever you are.
But just then, the prince saw Snow White move. The stardust necklace was magical and rewarded him for his diligent search of the face he saw in the sky. Snow White revived. When she awoke, she was amazed to have such a handsome prince standing beside her, rescuing her. When they eventually got to shore and returned to Snow White's castle, she and Prince Antoine told the king everything. When the king learned what Queen Hela did to Snow White, he banished her from the kingdom. The king locked the magic mirror and all of the queen's possessions into the dungeon of the castle. Many months later, Snow White and the prince fell in love, because this was not an arranged marriage, and had a beautiful wedding in the castle. They invited the dwarves and celebrated and lived happily ever after.
Once upon a time, there was a small town far from the city. In this town lived a witch whom everyone made fun of. This witch, named Fury, was so clumsy. One day, the witch Fury was preparing a potion to do her usual evil deeds. Bobby, get out of here! You will pour out this potion of unhappiness that I will deal out to the people. Witch Fury's spoiled dog was not standing still. He was running around. Ruff, ruff. Bobby! Enough is enough! Meanwhile, Witch Fury accidentally put too much sugar in the potion cauldron, but didn't realize it. She took the potion she filled in a small bottle and started casting spells. Let the laughter turn into tears, joys into troubles, and dreams into nightmares. Just then, spoiled Bobby got tangled in the witch's feet. The witch stumbled and tripped on her broom next to the table. And some of the potion in the bottle spilled onto the dog. Bobby didn't understand what happened first, looked left and right, then turned into a giant candy. Seeing this, Fury looked at the potion bottle and her dog, which had turned into a candy. The candy was bouncing around, and the witch was chasing after it anxiously. Bobby! Do not go! I will fix this! Wait! Ah! I said stop! Wait! The candy bounced around. First, popped out of the window, then fell into the pool below, and of course, melted in an instant. The witch Fury looked sadly behind the melting candy. This incident spread from ear to ear among the townspeople. Those who were fed up with the witch's evils thought she deserved it.
The witch living in the haunted mansion has finally been punished for her wickedness.
Yeah, she won't be able to cast spells on us anymore. I think we should celebrate that.
But she's just a clumsy witch, and she lost her dog just because of that. From that day on, the townspeople celebrated the same day every year as Halloween, while the young girl named Millie was feeding street animals on the same day every year. You're so playful, little dog. Jump! Come on, jump! A few years have passed. The witch Fury began to devise a plan to punish those who made fun of her. That year, on Halloween, she disguised herself and wore a huge pumpkin headdress. In this way, she managed not to be recognized by anyone. I will punish all of you for making fun of me. She took the potion bottle she had prepared and went out of her mansion for the first time in years and started knocking on the doors one by one. No one recognized the witch Fury. Trick or treat?
Treat!
When the witch heard the word candy, she sprayed the man with her potion and turned him into a giant candy. Now make fun of me! Then the witch went to the house next door. This time, a kid opened the door. Trick or treat?
Treat!
Here you go! Treat! Witch Fury turned the kid into a candy right there. Meanwhile, Millie, who was out to feed the street animals, was very surprised to see huge candies bouncing around. Woof, woof, woof! What's going on here? Where are those candies coming from? Millie ran in the direction the candies were bouncing. And she saw that someone in a pumpkin costume was laughing at the candy that passed in front of her. Hey! Who are you? What are you doing to these people? Stop now! When the witch saw the young girl who was coming running to her, she started to run away quickly. They chased each other along the street. Finally, Millie caught this oddly disguised witch and took off her hood. She was very surprised to see that it was Witch Fury. Ah! Witch Fury! It's you! Why are you doing evil things to people again after years? You should stop now! The townspeople deserve it, Millie. While I'm sad to lose my dog, they're celebrating this day! Millie realized that the Witch Fury was very sorry for her dog and that she has actually been alone for years. I understand you, but the solution is not to hurt people. Kindness always wins. I have a great idea. Wait a minute. Millie called the little puppy next to her, who was trying to play with the bouncing candies in the square, and brought him to the witch. Here, look. How innocent is he? This beautiful creature may now want to live with you. Witch Fury was overjoyed when she saw the dog, because he looked just like her old dog, Bobby. But he looks a lot like my dog. I can't believe it! Oh, he's so sweet! If you promise to stop doing evil to the townspeople, this puppy can live with you for a lifetime and be very happy. Woof, woof, woof! The witch's heart became softer as she loved the dog. The evil in her suddenly disappeared. I promise, this dog will now be my best friend. Thank you, young girl. The witch, with her newly adopted dog, turned all the candies that were bouncing on the street back to their old human form. She named her beloved dog Candy. Since then, Fury has gone out on the streets to do the street animals a favor every Halloween, just like Millie. And her dog Candy has never left her alone.